guys, Sean here. Welcome back to another vlog. I hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're taking care of yourselves. I know I am now. Today's going to be a bit of a rougher subject. I'm going to, get you guys in advance. I'm going to be talking about mental health, especially my own. So, if this is not your cup of tea, letting you guys know in advance. Feel free to skip this. I get it. But I think that this is something that's important for myself to put out. I was in a really bad state. And so I think that by sharing some of what I was dealing with is going to be good and cathartic for myself. If it helps somebody else, or if you want to open up a discussion, I think that's important too. But I was in a really bad state before I came here. And I've alluded to this in the past, mentioned in my videos about weight loss and things, that mental health was one of the key features of me getting back on track. And I firmly believe that. I was in really bad shape, physically, mentally, spiritually, everything. I was a mess back home in Canada. The past 4 years with the pandemic really messed me up. More so than I could have ever thought. Now, here's the thing. I've always considered myself to be stable, good grasp on reality. I've always thought that I've had my best interest in heart, my mental, like I was in good mental state. For the most part, yeah, I have been. But I had a few things happen to me in the past while that kind of chipped away at my own self-confidence. And that left me open to my own worst nightmare, which was myself. So to start this off, years ago, I was in a bad relationship. I was dating somebody that was toxic. It was a abusive relationship, not physically. It was emotionally, mentally abusive. And I didn't realize that until the relationship had ended and she'd left. And then it was a few years of coming back after that, because it blew my self-confidence away. I lost all faith in myself because I allowed this to happen to me. How could I do that? How could I allow myself to get in that state? And I promised myself I'd never do it again. Probably one of the main reasons that I don't date because I don't trust myself to have good judgment when it comes to relationships. My ex-wife, probably one of the only relationships that I can attest was a good idea. We make much better friends, and I'm very happy that she's was a part of my life and we have our son together. So, I haven't always been a crap decision maker with relationships, but this one in particular was bad. So I was rebuilding myself, and then I was living in Florida at the time, so I was making headway. I was getting better. Wasn't in the best situation in Florida, but I was working on it. Then a hurricane ripped through, put the fear of everything into me. And as soon as I had the opportunity, I left Florida, moved back up to Canada. And that's where I said, okay, now you're going to start rebuilding. And that was the problem, is that I was running towards things that I knew. I moved back to Halifax, and I knew Halifax wasn't the right fit, so I moved to Montreal. Montreal was okay. That wasn't a great fit for me, but I was making good progress there. I got a good job, everything was going well. And was just about starting looking for new apartments because the place I was at was just kind of a rundown, not a great place to be. Not a great neighborhood. Everything was just kind of It was good enough to live for a while, but it wasn't the place that I wanted to stay. And then the pandemic hit. And the rug got pulled out from underneath me. That was for everybody. It's a polarizing moment. Humanity faced something that we'd never faced collectively like that before. And I became isolated. I let my fear take over completely. Because of my colitis, my immune system can be a little bit temperamental. And so they were saying, if you have any, immune compromised things, you need to be careful. And so day by day, that fear got pushed deeper and deeper into my psyche. And then before I knew it, I was a complete hermit. I didn't leave the house except to go get groceries. I would take a little walk every now and again. But the majority of my days was filled with work from home, playing video games, kept myself busy. But the only thing that maintained me was the fact that I'm introverted by nature. So that allowed me to survive it, but that being an introvert also is part of my issue, and we'll get to that. So as everything progressed, I realized that Montreal was really, really bad. I had a job opportunity arise in Toronto, so I took it and I moved. Again, hoping that a move to Toronto would be something that would help, because I was scared. I was scared all the time. And so I took a train from Montreal to Toronto, and I was very hopeful. I wore masks all the time. Anytime I was outside, I was masked up. And then I got to Toronto going, okay, this is it, Sean. We're good. The next day, everything got locked down again. It was like the third one I'd been through, and I was just like, Jesus. And I was in the basement of an apartment, and the fears just steamrolled over me again. It just didn't get any better. The finale of Toronto for me was my birthday, and I was out just for a walk, just treating myself to going outside. I was going to get some takeaway food, what was I? I think I was going to Popeyes or something, getting fried chicken. It was a treat that I allowed myself every now and again. But I wasn't far from my home, and this gentleman was in the street. He started hollering at me from across the street. And he was not friendly, let's put it that way. Quite antagonistic. So I just put my head down. I used to carry like a backup phone that has my music on it, so that I can keep my main phone separate and I don't have to worry about anything. And this guy decided to take all of his frustration and all of his ire. Hello. Hello. I love it here. But yeah, he decided he was going to take all of his anger and frustration out on me. And he attacked me. He came running up to me, started spitting me, started pounding on me, pulled my mask off, spit in my face, kicked me a few times, and then ended up stealing my phone. And again, this was a cheap piece of shit phone that I didn't care about. It barely held a charge, so I was like, good luck, motherfucker, good luck. But that was the straw that broke me. I packed up from Toronto shortly after that, moved to New Brunswick. Still maintained my job in Toronto, was working remotely, and just said, I can't do this. I cannot be here anymore. Toronto became like another scary place. Montreal was a scary place. And that was the thing, I was going to scary places. So I hop on a plane, go to New Brunswick, I got an apartment, everything squared away there. And, on the plane, masked up. I get off the plane. Nobody in New Brunswick is concerned. And the thing is that the east coast of Canada had been in what we called the bubble. So for the long time during the pandemic, the cases were minimal. Like, they were very, very minimal. So I arrived, and lo and behold, the case numbers and the counts started going up again. And I just was like, I just couldn't catch a break. I just couldn't catch a break. It didn't matter, what I was doing. The news was constantly negative. There was always something awful going on. And it was just a horrible, horrible place to deal with it. And that was a problem for me. It was the constant barrage of, like, no matter what I was doing, where I was going. I'm working on the phones, you get the news, Nobody wants to talk about the good stuff. It was always the bad. And it was just an endless cycle for me of all this. And so as I was struggling with my own mental health and dealing with the fact that I was afraid, I just couldn't see a light at the end of the tunnel for myself. And the isolation just maintained. Like, I kept on doing what I did was, go grocery shopping, taking a walk to a park where nobody goes so that I could be outside and alone. But yeah, it took me a long while to even take my mask off outside. But I did that finally last year. I would go out for a walk without my mask on. So that was a huge turning point for me, where I was like, okay, maybe I'm getting better. So the thoughts of coming over here were like that itch. It was just something that was there in my head that I needed to do. I didn't realize why I needed to be here. I think sometimes our subconscious will just, dictate things, and you have to listen. And I hadn't been listening to my subconscious for a while. I was just reacting. So the biggest problem for myself, and that's something that I've been dealing with here, is that being an introvert naturally, where my natural state is, I like to be alone. Give me in a room, a book, a computer. I'm okay with anything. Hell, give me a flashlight and I'll entertain myself for hours. Like, I'm good. I'm comfortable in my own space. And because I am that way, I thought that I was handling the pandemic really well. And I wasn't. I just kept on telling myself, no, you're good. Everyone else is falling apart. You're good. And a lot of people were falling apart. I just wasn't realizing that I was as well. But part of being that introvert, when you work in the industries that I've worked in, so when you're a waiter, when you're a bartender, when you're working as a trainer in a corporate structure, you have to be around people all the time, and you have to put forth a face. And I'm not alone in this. I've talked to other introverts that do the exact same thing. It's like you put on a mask. And that mask is the person or the personality that you're projecting to people so that they think everything's okay. They don't see the fact that you're inside your head screaming as you're trying to hold a regular conversation with somebody. Because that's what happens. So if you wonder why I'm able to do this, because I'm just talking to myself, Sure, there's times where I'm having a conversation with family or friends, or I'm answering a question, but I'm still just talking to myself. So it's easy for me to deal with it. So there is no mask I'm putting on here. I'm just being me. But, I don't know what the heck this sound is. I'm assuming it's something. So I was adept at wearing a mask, so to speak, where it's easy to hide those inner failings that I've always had as an introverted person. You know, it just, you become really good at projecting something that's different than what you're really doing. And so when I was falling apart, I was able to project that. I think my family and some friends knew that things were happening, but I don't think anybody knew to the extent how bad it was for me. I was afraid every day, every single day. And so that's an unhealthy state. Because of that fear, my health suffered. You know, obviously my mental state suffered, but my health was one of the key things. And I could walk all I wanted to, but I was still dealing with raging depression, fear. And, you know, I'd get home, eat a huge bag of chips, whatever it would be. It wouldn't matter. But I was not taking care of my body. I was definitely not taking care of my mind. I was just coping. So the thought of coming over here was something that just kept on resonating. And I know I said earlier that one of my problems was I kept on running from my problems. And that's true. I kept on running from one location to another location thinking that that was going to fix me. But I was going to do something different when I came over here, and I did. And that wasn't that I was going to run away from my problems. I was going to face it head on. So I made a conscious decision that this was going to be the end of that life for me. So when I left my apartment in New Brunswick, I had a mask in my pocket. And I made a deal with myself that I would only put it on if it got too bad. And so that mask stayed in my pocket the entire trip. I was able to fly for 30 hours plus across multiple continents and the Pacific Ocean. And I arrived safely. When I got into Bangkok, hopped in a cab, got to my hotel. Hello. But I was able to not wear that anymore. And I wore it only a few times in Bangkok. And that was more out of respect for others. That if I saw a large group of people that were wearing it, so if I was in a mall, if I was on public transit, and I saw that most people were masking up when they went in, I would do the same. Because again, I was responding to them and what was being put forth, but I was not responding to myself. And then since I left Thailand, I haven't touched it. I have a bag of masks that are in my closet. I have one that was in my bag up until today. I took it out before I filmed this. Because I am better. So there was one of two situations that was going to happen. And this is what I told myself, is that I was going to do this. And I was going to go. And that there was two endings for this adventure. The first was the one that I was hoping for. And that was that I was going to be okay. I would find a way out. Hello. You know, I would find a path back to myself and find peace. You know, get rid of that inner turmoil. The other, which is the outcome I didn't want, but there was that part of my brain that had been a pain in my ass for the past 4 years plus, that was telling me that if I did this, I was going to get sick and I was not going to come back. And so like I said, I came over here fully accepting either outcome. And that's where I was. That's where I was mentally. That decision was easier for me to do and come over here than to cope with anything back home. Because I tried, but there were too many things that I could rely upon back home. There was way too many support structures for my my problem. There was too many ways for me to procrastinate, and by having to come over here, I no longer had that option to procrastinate. I was in a new country, a new part of the world, dealing with a different culture. I didn't have time to deal with my own bullshit anymore. Thank you. And that's what it was. It was my own bullshit. And so the good thing about this whole thing is that that nagging part of me, that one that said that I was going to come over here, that I wasn't going to make it, that's the only part of me that died off. I quieted my own demons. It took a lot. I would love to say that the last 6 months have been easy. They haven't. They haven't been at all. There were nights where I didn't sleep, where I was just sitting in my room shaking with fear. There were days that I'd go out for a walk. I'd get downstairs, get out to the street, hightail it back. I never let it completely consume me. I would always push myself every day to go out. And Bangkok is a busy place, so like you step outside your apartment and you're surrounded by people. So, but I did it. Getting to Siem Reap, getting to Cambodia was the catalyst I needed to finalize it. Because, out of all of the things that I needed to do, the most important thing that I needed to do, there was two. I needed to be happy. And not only did I need to be happy, I needed to be happy with myself. And so, I would accept little milestones, 3 days without a mask, or, you walked 5 kilometers today, you stopped and talked to people. And you may notice too in my vlogs now that I am talking to people. That's been a conscious effort. These are things that I was not capable of doing when I started this channel, when I started doing this back in November. So, yeah, it has been rough. But I wanted to share this so that you guys understand that, this is a person here, And everyone that does this, we're all just people. So, take into consideration that no matter what we're saying, no matter how much we're showcasing the amazing things in our life and the places where we are, there is always that possibility that the person you're watching is screaming on the inside and has no idea how to stop it from happening. And they may be trying to work their way out of something that is absolutely miserable. And the last thing that anybody needs is for somebody to come along and just say that one thing in a comment that sets you off. Because it may not seem like anything to you, but it could be that one thing that just ruins months and months of progress for the person that is doing everything they can to put themselves out to not only entertain you, but to cope with their own shit. So, there we go. So yeah, like I said, this is not an easy one. This was not easy for me to do at all. I'm very emotional right now. You know, this is the best thing I've ever done for myself, ever. And it's not easy. It's not easy at all. And, you know, it does take a lot for us to, or for me, I shouldn't put words in anybody else's mouth, but it takes a lot for me to do this. So, hope you guys appreciate it. You know, hope you understand. I'm not trying to rant and rave, you know, or say that I've got the solution for anything. Not even close. I just wanted to express my process, how I was able to get myself out of a really, really bad situation. That if I hadn't have left, I think that little voice that was in the back of my head that was telling me that something was going to happen to me when I came here, I think that's what I was destined to have happen to me when I was back home, because my health was suffering. Like, I couldn't have all that extra weight and do what I was doing. All that stress, no. I will take this any day of the week. And so when people ask me if I have any intentions of going back to the West, this is why I can say without any fear, no. I don't want to. I don't miss anything about it. I don't miss the constant negative, the constant anything that was happening to me. But anyway, I hope you guys understand. Hope you guys appreciate this video. If you do, please like, comment, share, subscribe. And as always, if you are still here, feel free to click the link that's over here. See another video. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. I'll see you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye.